Welcome back to the Party Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Clayton.
Sam.
Brock. With special guest, Cole. And we are here. This is episode 3 of season 2. And we have a decent amount to talk about today. Cole is a returning member. Well, returning guest, I should say. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Cole. Remind the audience.
My name is Cole Campbell. I'm 18 years old. I play basketball at Bellevue High School. This is my first year playing in a while. I'm averaging 1.2 points a game. I'm
Jalen Green.
I'm shooting like 18% from the field. I'm really proud of myself. And I try and keep my faith in God. And that's basically my whole life because nothing else really happens.
Well, you heard it here first. All right, Brock, give us some topics to talk about today.
I just want to start off by saying, you got a game tonight, don't you?
We do. We do.
Who do you play again? I'll take just speak.
We play Meadowbrook Academy.
Okay. All right, and I'm not really familiar with the high school basketball. The lore. Is Meadowbrook a good team, or you guys confident you're gonna win this game?
We played them earlier in the season. We played them at home. Now we're on the road. We lost to them. It was a very chippy game. The officiating wasn't great, but they hit shots and we didn't. It's like they have a lot of white guys, so they hit shots. We don't. But we should be able to beat them. We should be able to knock them off tonight. Hopefully we can get it done. Less chippiness involved before the game. I'm gonna try and pray that there's not chippiness because there was last time, and there were some things said that I probably regret, but hopefully we can have a game of clean, fun basketball.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of the chirping and chippiness of certain teams. Like, obviously, all three of us have played baseball, and the other dugouts in a lot of games would say some pretty nasty things. And I know Bellevue and Vanguard, our coaches kind of stopped us from saying, we can talk and be loud, but they don't. The coaches at other schools, it seems like their coaches just let them say the most outlandish things. Y'all ever notice that, guys?
Yeah. I don't know if Brock was there, but I think it was one game against I don't know what team it was, but the other
Taylor County.
That's what it was. Taylor
Yeah.
County. They called Brady Lobig called him a plumber or something like that. They said that tomorrow he's gonna go to his 9-to-5 job.
Yep.
But yeah, Taylor County. That's the team I was thinking of. That was on a Saturday morning. We played them. But yeah, there's teams that, like I said, just don't know how to stop.
Yeah, going back to Taylor County, I remember their coach chirping at us after we beat them and said, "That's the best you guys got. Wait till we play you guys again. We'll give you the best we got. You guys aren't going to win." I don't know if you recall, Sam, but that was their coach saying that to a bunch of kids. And I just think, with Bellevue, we got yelled at by our coach if we would say anything too hurtful, I guess, to the other team. But just a lot of other teams that just don't care.
Yeah, I would like to talk about my experience with the most chirpy team I've ever met, and it was Chiefland. My junior year, we played Chiefland at Chiefland away for our first game of the season. It was my junior year, and it came down to the last inning. We took the lead late in the final inning, and I think we were winning 6-5 in the bottom of the inning. It got really loud, really chirpy the whole inning. We ended up winning on a crazy double play. I believe it was a line drive to the shortstop. Shout out Jacob Wells. He jumped up. I'm pretty sure he caught it, and then he threw the ball back to the guy at second and backpicked him for the double play. And that was a huge out. And then I believe the final guy grounded out, and he actually ended up hurting his knee on the run. And when we went to say good game, one of the this is the most racist team I've ever met, by the way. One of the players on Chiefland called one of our black teammates, Jordan Volker, the N-word. I'm so serious.
Is a white kid, you said?
A white kid
Wow.
called our black teammate the N-word, and we almost got into a huge fight after the game.
What was the context of the N-word?
He called him he just called him you dumb.
Oh
yeah,
okay.
hard R, not with an A. I'm not joking. This happened, and we almost got into a huge fight about it. Our coach was pissed at the other team, but he was also pissed at us. because we were kind of talking back.
Did you guys say the
about it.
N-word as well?
No, we did not.
Okay, I
So retaliation.
I had to make sure.
So yeah, as Cole said, teams can be chirpy, and yeah, we get it.
I do remember kind of like vaguely something that had happened this previous season. I remember there was a collision at first base, and if you guys don't know, for most of the season I played first base, and I remember there was a collision. I remember after the game when the like the little like 9U like going like high fiving each other, good game, whatever. Kid shoulder bumped me. I guess to show me who was boss. I mean, they lost and he got ran over at first base, and some kids are just babies. Like, for example, one of my teammates, he was number 10 at Bellevue.
Trash.
Cried after multiple games,
Yeah.
on multiple occasions, and I get there's emotion with the sport, but some people just take it to a whole new extreme.
I mean, I would like to say that all sports have an emotional impact in them. I mean, right, Cole? I mean, do you have any like emotional attachment to basketball or soccer? I know it's in multiple sports.
I had an emotional attachment last year. I think I posted on Instagram, which was kind of corny, but we lost in the district championship, and it was kind of like, I don't want to say a turning point in my
What
life.
sport?
Soccer, sorry, soccer. And this was like, I played 5 minutes a game out of like the 80, but like they finally played me for like the whole game because I guess guys were hurt, and like I kind of cost us the game because I sucked. I've had a great sports career if you couldn't tell by now, but and I just kind of realized that sometimes you gotta have more effort for your team and give more in practice, and a lot of emotions were flowing, and it was a tough loss because we had them late. I think there were 2 minutes left and we were up one, and then they scored, and it was a very upsetting time. But you learn a lot from your failures, and that's part of the reason why we do stuff and I do stuff, and like in life you just gotta learn from your failures, and yeah.
I like to add on to that. Cole said, I mean, he claimed that he sucked at soccer, but you know what? It's not like in team sports, especially. It's not all about whether you're good at the sport or not. You have your role. Like especially if you're not as good and you're on the sideline, the bench, or the dugout. Any team sport really. You have a role, and that's to cheer your team on and like hype them up. Like that plays a huge role. And I hate to bring up district championship game again against these two guys, but we had this kid Fabian. He hardly play. He's a freshman at the time. He got called up to varsity because he had a good JV season, and he was like our little cheerleader, man. Like he would cheer, and I consider that to be a big part in us winning the district championship. So there's different roles to play. You have something to say, Sam?
No, it's
Sighing.
off camera. Brock was rubbing my hand. I'm not even joking.
There's no proof.
But yeah. I mean, there's roles that everybody has. I mean, if you're not on the field, like Clayton said, you have a role. I mean, look at Kenneth Planner, our last guest. He was our team manager. He played a huge role. No pun intended.
Huge role. What was the thing, dude?
Shout out Kane Skinner, the OG team manager.
There was also running for Jose Aquino, but he dropped out.
I saw him the other day.
Pretty
I saw him
early.
yesterday.
Really?
Yeah,
Where
I
did you
did.
see him?
I was going to pick up my buddy Blake, and you guys know Blake if you've watched the podcast before. He was on an episode, him and his twin brother Brandon, and I was going to pick him up, and I saw Jose roaming through their neighborhood, and I had to roll my window down, and I meant to just say hi to him, and he walks out in the middle of the road. It starts talking to me, and there's a person like driving right behind him, and as they're passing behind him, he's like, "All right, I gotta go," and almost gets hit by the car. And yeah, it was good. It's nice talking to Jose every once in a while. Every time I talk to him, he brings up the golf cart incident that he had at Bellevue High School, and yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen Jose in a while. He asked about Brady Lobig, who was also a guest on this podcast.
The first guest.
A lot of shout outs
and,
today, huh?
and he asked me, he's like, "How's Brady doing?" I was like, "Oh, he's good."
He's working
And
on toilets.
He's like, he's working on toilets.
Apparently.
He's like, "I heard he cut the mullet." I said, "Yep," and he said, "All right, man, gotta go." That was my interaction with Jose.
You know where he went?
He was I'm not even kidding. He was in the exact same spot I found him like 3 hours later. I was bringing Blake home, and Jose was in the same spot, and I just said, "What's up?" to him. Oh, Jose also asked me for a piece of gum, and then he saw I had a wad of ones in my
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what it's called.
The wallet.
My cup holder.
Oh.
And he's like, I would have asked for your money, but you worked hard for that. I said, yeah, Jose. He's like, can I get a piece of gum? I said, you know what, sure. And I gave him a piece of gum. Apparently he wanted more because he was still there when I came back.
Is he homeless by chance?
No.
Nope, I've seen his home. He's not homeless. He has a home.
So why is he? Do you know why he sits outside?
Well, I can tell you what, that guy, if you don't know who Jose is, the Jose, he runs that neighborhood. I'm not even joking. He literally runs that neighborhood.
I could believe it.
The amount of times I've driven through that neighborhood and he's standing, like Brock said, in the middle of the road. He's like a traffic cone. Like, he's like directing traffic, like waving you where to go. Like, he'll point you where to go and you go. Like, he runs the Cobblestone North, which is the neighborhood. But I mean, yeah, he does have a home, Clayton. He lives like in the front, one of the first houses there. So he has the perfect opportunity to direct the traffic going into the entrance of the neighborhood. So, yeah, I mean, Jose's quite the role model for the neighborhood.
He should get a job with the HOA.
I think he does.
Like seriously?
I don't know if it's like volunteer work for the HOA, but
Guys, there's a cop. There's a cop pulling up.
I see that.
That'd be a really funny experience if a cop
all on camera.
intervenes on camera, but it looks like she completely ignored us. So there goes your content.
By the way, we're at the Paddock Mall.
Okay, yeah,
Parking
just tell
lot.
me where we are.
Yeah, we're at the Paddock Mall location, and before this
It's
whole thing,
approximately 11:53 a.m. Friday, January 3rd,
so
with Cole.
yes, so funny story. Right before we started recording this podcast, we thought our microphones weren't going to work, so we went to the Paddock Mall to get an adapter piece to make sure our microphones would work, and we walked up to the counter. It was a guy. We asked him, he didn't have it. We walked up to 3 different counters, and the same guy just appeared at the counter. It was the same guy. All 3 counters, same guy was just there. Like, some crazy stuff, man. And I don't understand, like, why our microphones weren't working at the start of this. But I guess God has his ways, and, the microphone's working now.
I'll take that. Cole, just to get some input from you here, you have a Twitch account. You like the live stream, huh? Would you like to go a little more in depth with that?
So I was streaming last night. Caden Skinner randomly messages me while I'm watching a Jerry After Dark stream, which, I mean, I'm just watching some guy hit golf shots on YouTube. And I get a text from Caden Skinner, try to play MLB The Show. And I said yes, and I told some people about it. And so I ended up going live on Twitch. And let's just say I couldn't hit the fastball or the curveball. I couldn't really hit any pitch. I threw like 2 meatballs in a row.
I'd like to get some input on this too.
And I was just having a rough night on the stream. And then I got on FIFA and lost both, or I think I tied one of them.
Yep.
And then I got on 2K and it was like 0-for-6 to start from the field. And then I think the stream ended after that. I got raided by my brother and his friend. But it was a good stream.
Thanks for the raid.
Yeah, just to go back to what Cole said about MLB The Show, I knew he was playing Skinner because he had texted the group chat, the text messages that him and Skinner had. And you got to the last inning. I think you guys played 7 innings. Yeah. And I remember you started freaking out. And I kept seeing that you were missing a high fastball. So I texted Caden Skinner. I said, please keep throwing him high fastballs. He can't catch up to it. In the last out of the game, high and inside fastball, 1-on-1 off the bat, line drive to the second baseman, caught on a 1-hop, ended the game. And I think that was just showed that, Cole couldn't really, get on time with the fastball. And if he got on time with the fastball, he couldn't get under one. And, that just lost him the game at the end of the day.
I just want to say, I know this podcast is coming out after, tonight, Friday, but I've actually messaged Caden Skinner, and I'm getting a rematch tonight, potentially. But we're not going to do Diamond Dynasty. It's going to be regular teams, and I think the Pirates are going to overpower the Braves.
Said nobody ever.
Yeah, we got Rowdy Tellez, who's like a 55 overall. I'm pretty excited.
Well, you will only have a chance if you start Paul Stage. That's your
the
only chance.
only answer.
That's the only chance.
Well, I mean, as somebody who's been a Pirates fan for around 9 months now, getting back into the baseball game, I've been a fan my whole life, but I don't watch baseball until this year. So like, I started gambling on it and got in a fantasy league, so that kind of sparked my interest. But I think the Pirates actually have a pretty good staff. I'm not that concerned if I don't use Skeens. I'm pretty excited about Jared Jones, his sophomore season upcoming. Mitch Keller's gonna have a good year, and we could have a bullpen day with
Keller's never had a good year.
every single guy on the bullpen that's like a 58 overall, led by Colin Holderman. The pen kind of sucks. It makes me pretty upset, but yeah, I think we're gonna be all right.
Are you a Brian De La Cruz fan?
What's his nickname?
BDLC. Oh, but
No, not at all.
Not-
I don't know. I just see it on Pirates Twitter. They call it-
BLDC, Brian Lidday Cruz.
No, BDLC, Brian Daylock. But funnily enough, I had Brian De La Cruz on my fantasy team second half of the season, and I was so upset with Brian De La Cruz. But I think next year he's gonna have a bounce back with the Braves. I think he's doing all right.
My God.
Sam sold.
Somebody had to say it.
Anyways, nobody had to say it. Nobody had to say it. Nobody had to say it. Brian De La Cruz was a Marlin. I'm a Marlins fan. My license plate is a Marlins tag. I was a big DLC fan, man. I was a big DLC fan.
That's not his nickname.
BDLC.
Yes.
BBDLC. And there's a certain nickname for him besides DLC, but we won't mention that on the podcast. I mean, we mentioned it on the podcast, but that's getting cut out. And
Oh my God.
yeah,
Cole, I really like your football takes, and I think that I need a guy with decent takes to kind of talk about this on the podcast. And we talked about the NFL a lot lately, so I think I want to kind of get more into the college football scene. Did you by any chance happen to do the college football bracket challenge?
Yeah. Do you want me to pull it up on my phone?
Is it
don't know what my phone's at.
is it busted?
Yeah.
Okay.
and I guess Oregon.
So
We'll
if you know a little bit about me in the sports world, I'm a big underdog guy, right? Like I really love the underdogs. I love Princeton's basketball team. I'm just a big underdog guy. That's how I was born. That's how I was brought up. So in the first round of the college football playoff, they have a new bracket this year. The 5 seed plays the 12, the 6 plays the 11, the 7 plays the 10, and the 8 plays the 9. Well, in the first round, I picked every single underdog, and let's just say
every single one.
let's just say
Yeah,
all the favorites covered. I thought that this was going to be an underdog sweep. I was like, Tennessee's taking out Ohio State, Indiana's taking out Notre Dame, SMU's going to get Penn State, and Clemson's going to beat Texas. And none of that happened. So I haven't even looked at my bracket in 3 weeks. But what?
So did you keep the same tactic for the second round, or did you have all favorites going in the second round? Because it went all favorites, and then all the lower seeds won the second round, I believe.
Does it matter?
Well, I don't even know what I had in the second round, but if all the teams that got to the second round were the underdogs and then they won, I don't have a team alive right now. I can guarantee that. Right now I'm just looking forward to March Madness, kind of watch a mid-major basketball, seeing if I could do better in that bracket challenge. I've been watching a lot of Princeton. I have a lot of money that I spent on the Princeton basketball team this year in gambling. And I really think they're a great team, led by Xavier and Lee. And I watched their podcast with their 2 best players. I really like that team, but that's probably my favorite team in hoops right now. But I'm just college football didn't go my way this year. I only made about $50 gambling, and so it just wasn't my year. But we're gonna get them soon.
I don't know how involved you are in the college football scene, but do you have any potential sleeper picks in the upcoming NFL draft? Yeah.
If I had to think about a couple guys, I think Jackson Dart is gonna rise up rankings. He had a terrible game and had a Ole Miss ended their season terribly, except for the
Yeah.
blowout against Duke, which they're missing their backup and starting quarterback, and then backup and starting running back. So take that as you wish, Ole Miss. But I really like Jackson Dart, and I was watching Colin Cowherd yesterday, and I realized that if Jalen Milroe is what these scouts think he is, he's going to be like the second or third quarterback off the board, even though he sucks. So that's actually not going to be a prospect I like. That Jalen Milroe is going to suck. But some of the running backs I like is just RJ Harvey. I really think he's going to bounce up, and that's about it.
No, Jackson Dart, dude. Yes, he's one of the best. He's going to be probably, in my opinion, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the draft. Probably top two, the best QBs in the draft.
What?
Top 2 in the draft.
Two. Yes,
Do you know who Cam Ward is?
Shador?
he's one.
Then who's 2?
Jackson Dart. So where do you?
Shador 3?
I don't believe this list.
All right, hold on. We'll
Because
get
Jackson
to
Dart, dude, he was so elite. But his biggest problem is he's a crybaby, dude.
Yes, I was
He's
just about
the
to-
biggest crybaby I've ever seen on the football field. He cried 3 times within like 2 plays. His meltdown was insane, and I just don't see that translating well. I'm saying he's going to get drafted high, but I just don't see his potential in the NFL because he crumbles under one mistake. He thinks he's perfect. He's had an amazing season, and then when he has trouble, he just crumbles to the ground and cries like a baby.
Yeah, I completely agree. That UF game completely just his stock just plummeted. Watching him on the sideline with a chance to win the game still, and he's on the sideline with his helmet off, crying after he threw a pick. I mean, that just shows you what kind of player he is. And he comes out the very next drive, throws a pick that got overturned,
And then threw another pick.
and then threw a pick like the very next play. And it's just disappointing to see a guy with that kind of talent with that bad of body language. And I think, body language is a big thing with these NFL scouts, and I just think that really hurt his stock. And going back to like the quarterback, the prospect rankings, as a Miami fan and as a college football fan, I got Cam Ward 1. Obviously, I think the guy proved to everybody this past season how good of a player he can really be. And now there's mixed feelings about Shador Sanders, and which is understandable. Don't get me wrong, but the guy plays in a pro style offense, and I think he played pretty well for the most part. But with a bunch of these quarterbacks, they like to try to extend plays, and with Shador, he doesn't have that kind of speed to get out of the pocket or the strength. Like Cam Ward, I mean, he's fast enough to get out of the pocket, get you 15 yards, but he'll just shrug a guy off, a linebacker, like free rush on a blitz, and he'll get out of the pocket, throw a dart 30 yards downfield. And with Shador Sanders, I don't think he's really super gifted in, getting out of the pocket or breaking tackles. But I think he's a good quarterback. He's got a decent arm. Maybe not the strongest arm in the draft, but I think he's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of potential, I would say. And like I said, with the pro-style offense, he's already proved that he can play in a pro-level offense. And I think his biggest issue is, trying to do too much. And I believe against, who'd they just play? BYU. So in college football, they count rushing yards with sacks. He had negative 34 rushing yards because he would take 20-yard sacks even after having a 10-yard rush. And it's like, that causes a lot of problems with NFL teams. You don't see that as much with NFL teams, but if you get into a 2nd and 20, 2nd and 25, odds are pretty high you're not going to convert. And I think that's a big issue with Shador.
Well, I'd like to give y'all's quick opinions on that Ohio State-Oregon game, obviously. I mean, I thought Ohio State were frauds after watching that Michigan game, but okay, I'll hand it over to him first.
So my brother's an Ohio State fan, and he really doesn't like Ryan Day. And what our whole family has kind of noticed, because everyone in my family watches football, I guess, everyone kind of noticed after the Michigan game, Ryan Day is getting fired if they don't win a ring this year, or at least get close. And so Ohio State's looking really good right now, and just absolutely wiped Oregon, because Ryan Day realized, hey, we have a decent quarterback. We have the best receiver. We have pretty much the best receiver in the country. I don't know about Ted McMillan, but Jeremiah Smith is basically a top 5 receiver in the country, no doubt. So they just throw it up to him every play, or have a big run with Judkins. And they just finally opened up the offense. And so I don't really think that a team in the country is going to stop Ohio State. And they just absolutely killed Oregon. And it was good to see them finally do something. because they've had really bad season, in my opinion, for losing to Michigan and then the bad loss to Oregon, considering the talent they have on the roster. And I just think it was a big statement win for them to get that.
Ohio State's just a very well constructed team, and I think that's what's going to take them all the way. I think at least a top 3 1-2 punch in the running game with Judkins and Henderson. And I think maybe the only team that can really compare to them is Penn State with Allen and Singleton. But you got Egbuka, is that how you say it? Yeah. Jeremiah Smith, and you got that 1-2 punch. Will Howard doesn't have to do a lot, and I think he played pretty well against Oregon, but to be honest, I kind of expected it. You don't see teams very often beat the same team twice in a season, and I think Ohio State was out for revenge, especially Will Howard after his slide with no time left on the clock, and I think they just wanted to win more, and I think there needs to be something done about the college football playoff and how it works, because I don't think taking a month off is good for anybody, or just 2 or 3 weeks. I think that pretty much, you saw it with every single team that got a bye losing their first game. And I think that's a problem with the bracket. But Ohio State has a great team, arguably the best defense in the country, and I think that could take them all the way. You don't need to score a lot of points if you're holding teams to, Oregon being the number 1 team in the country, scoring 20 points, giving up 40. Like, that just shows how dominant Ohio State can be.
I kind of forgot what I was. Oh yeah. I just think that Ohio State, and it's tough to speculate, but right now, just imagine how good they would be with Kyle McCord back there and not Will Howard. I really think that Kyle McCord has really rocketed his. I don't know if he's going to get drafted, but he's rocketed his draft stock, and I just really like Kyle McCord. He just seems like he's going to have a really good NFL career when it comes, and I just think that Ohio State might have not lost a game this year if Kyle McCord was back there, and I just really like what he's doing right now.
Don't get me wrong, I like Kyle McCord too, but I think Will Howard fits the offense better. Because I say that because obviously Kyle McCord had a great season. He led the country in passing yards, maybe passing touchdowns. He was top 5. But Syracuse ran an air raid offense. All they did was pass the ball, and obviously McCord succeeded in that aspect. But that game that he threw 5 picks, it's pretty much impossible to win as a team if you have 5 turnovers as a quarterback. And I think are they Big 10 or Big 12? I'm sorry.
Syracuse?
No. I know they're in the ACC.
Oh, Ohio State? Yeah,
They're Big
Big 10. The Big 10 defenses, they're so much better than the ACC. Like, as a Miami fan, that was the worst display of defense I've ever seen in my entire life for 13 weeks. And it's pretty disappointing to see, but I don't think he would have had the stat line, obviously, because he wouldn't have been throwing 50 passes a game, but I still think it would have been decent. I think Ohio State probably would have been first team out with Kyle McCord as their quarterback. I think Will Howard fits the offense perfectly.
Sam, you've been very quiet this whole podcast. Is there anything you'd like to say?
I'll be honest, I don't know much about college football, and so I'm just letting Cole and Brock take it away, because, I'd like to say that both know the most about college football.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty obvious, so I'm going to let them take the floor. But, just from the outside looking in as a casual, I'll call myself a casual college football fan. It's pretty obvious that Ohio State's been a powerhouse for a lot of years now. I think it's only fitting that they go all the way here. They win it all. So I'll leave it at that.
Pretty notorious for blowing it, though.
Yeah, Ohio State, yeah. I would say I wouldn't call myself exactly a casual college football fan. I'm not nowhere near the level Brock and Cole are. But I'm a Gator fan, and I love my Gators. I watch every game every year. And I know the basics on the outsides, but I don't know every single player. Like, these guys, man, it's very impressive, by the way. It's very impressive that you know all these guys. And with college football, the thing is, there's a lot of guys you leave out. Like, there's so many teams, and there's great players on a lot of these, almost all of these teams have a great player, at least one. And it's just hard because you end up leaving guys out on, like, lists you make. And it's crazy. Like, with the NFL, you have 32 teams. So it's a lot easier to, like, categorize the guys. And, yeah.
You want me to add on to that?
You were looking for the mic.
Sam wants it.
Sam, you want it?
I will say, a little off topic of Ohio State and all that jazz. I will say, as a casual Gator fan as well, that DJ Lagway, as of right now, Cam Ward is so much better than DJ Lagway is.
Well,
now.
duh.
Right.
But at the end of Lagway's college career, I'd like to say that Lagway's gonna surpass Cam Ward easily. I think that's no question. I'm not gonna hand the mic to Brock because
no, I'm not going to trash on Lagway.
there's no point of trashing on him.
No,
There's no
I
trash
just want to say something. I think Cam Ward will be a better pure passer than DJ Lagway will be, but I think DJ Lagway has the potential to be the better all-around quarterback.
I agree.
And I think DJ Lagway has the potential to be what Anthony Richardson should have been.
Don't get me started, man.
Anthony Richardson has been so underwhelming in the NFL. I feel like every time I watch a Colts game, he's 9 for 30 with 3 picks, and it's like, I don't even understand how you could be a starting quarterback in the NFL like that.
Brock said it perfectly. I've been saying it for years. Anthony Richardson is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen on a Gators football field.
What?
Yeah, dude, yes. Dude.
Worse than Kyle Trask?
Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask was him back in the day.
a
Felipe
top 4.
Franks,
He was a Heisman finalist.
He was.
Felipe wasn't great, but he wasn't Anthony Richardson bad. Anthony Richardson is listen. Anthony Richardson is a freak athlete, dude. He's very impressive. He is too stupid to be a quarterback. Like if you look back at his college games,
I
dude,
told you that.
he doesn't know. He looks like if he's lost out there. He has no clue what he's doing. He needs to pick a different position on the field than quarterback.
Right here.
You give it a clap.
That'd be a good running back.
Honestly, Anthony Richardson, as much as I don't like the Gators, nor do I like Gators alumni, that Anthony Richardson is at times the most exciting player to watch. I mean, he's made some really spectacular plays this year, even though he's been awful. I mean, terrible. Joe Flacco was a better quarterback than him this year, and Joe Flacco's 90. But Anthony Richardson, hitting Alec Pierce for a 70-yard touchdown in the air, that's just unbelievable. And it's so impressive to me.
Y'all know what's Hooters?
Hooters.
Yes.
Hooters.
Where's Easy Street?
Yeah. Okay. So, do you know where the Regal Cinema is here? Okay.
That way.
I thought.
It's not on 200. It's on like a side road. Do you know where the bowling alley is?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know that road, the bowling alley where Walmart and all that is.
Right.
Yes. Okay. In front of Walmart, on the other side of the road, is the Regal Cinema.
Right.
And if you go in that Regal parking lot, if you're looking to the left of it, there's going to be Easy Street and Hooters is right next to it.
Okay, so I gotta go pass them back to Walmart.
Yeah, but the Walmart near the bowling alley.
All right,
Yes,
gotcha.
sir. I like your shirt, by the way.
Thank
Okay.
All right,
I don't even. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that's
we
what.
I
got two
apologize.
special guests.
Yes, I apologize. A very nice man asked us for some directions, and Clayton
Walking.
gladly helped them.
I hope that was on the mic. By the way. You go, oh,
Hopefully not.
yeah,
But,
check his shirt too.
I believe I was talking about
Well,
Anthony
words.
Richardson.
Yeah.
That pass to Alec Pierce for like a 70-yard touchdown. That's just so unbelievably impressive. And there's a handful of guys that can do that in today's game. I think, Josh Allen, Mahomes. I don't really know what's going on with Mahomes this year, but truly, don't get me wrong, he's a great quarterback, but his deep ball has not been the same this year. I don't know if he's not on the same page with his receivers. You'll get into this. I don't know if he's not on the same page. I don't know if he hasn't been on the same page with his receivers or what, but I think Bo Nix is a guy that can make that throw. And I just think it's so impressive what Anthony Richardson can do, but it's just so disappointing that he can't consistently be great.
I think the key thing we have to mention here is that Anthony Richardson's mentor is Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's
Joe
past
Flacco's
past his days.
first year as a Cole.
That's what I'm saying. That's his mentor right now.
Okay, but Anthony
That's his-
Richardson's been in the league for like 3 years.
What? He debuted
This
last
is
year.
his rookie.
Second year?
This is
year
second
two, right?
year.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
He was
his
injured.
mentor-
who was his mentor last year? Gardner Minshew?
Yeah,
That's embarrassing.
It's not that
these
bad.
had horrible mentors. That's my point. Joe Flacco and Gardner Minshew. I mean, Minshew's not that bad, but Flacco's past his days. That's pretty obvious.
Wait, hold
Been
on.
past-
I got it.
Wait, wait.
I just want to say Joe Flacco is a mentor. He did say in 2018 that he didn't really want to be a mentor for Lamar Jackson.
See?
But look at where Lamar Jackson's at right now. All right, Joe Flacco maybe isn't that bad of a mentor, but to go back on the Anthony Richardson situation, kind of just as a Tennessee sports fan, my mom grew up there. I hate all these Florida quarterbacks. They absolutely, no disrespect, these guys. Anthony Richardson is the most talented guy they've had in a while outside of Lagway, and we get beat by them every single year by guys like Felipe Franks, Kyle Trask. I can't name anybody else because even though I'm a college football fan, I can't even think of how good like a Florida quarterback's been. And I really think that Lagway is a pretty good player, and it's very disappointing to see that Lagway's good, but I think Florida's future is pretty high.
Tim Tebow?
Well, I wasn't alive for like that.
Tebow was
I mean,
playing in 2008.
I was like 1 year. Like I will say, I've
You want to wear?
I kind of have. I had ball knowledge from a ball knowledge from a young age. I was in like fantasy leagues at like 6 years old, but I was not a diehard Tennessee football fan at 1.5 year old watching Tim Tebow absolutely sling it against
Everybody.
against Tennessee, against everybody, winning back-to-back rings. Which back-to-back rings is very like important. I think that if you win back-to-back rings, you're a dynasty, especially in the college basketball world. I'll keep it at that. But I think winning 3 straight is even better, and I think that's going to come soon to a certain school in the Northeast. But
Well, Tim Tebow, just like that on, his best year was the year he didn't win the national championship. It was his final year as a Gator. And I don't know, that team was all over the place, but I just wanted to add on to that he could have won 3 in a row.
Tim Tebow, the king of false promises. I believe he promised the Gator Nation that the Gators weren't going to lose a single game that season, and they did.
And then he apologized and said, "I promise you won't lose another one." And then he kept his promise, and then he won the national championship.
Doesn't matter. I wouldn't want a guy that lies as my quarterback.
Speaking of lies, Sam.
Jameson Winston.
Speaking of lies, Sam, what do you lies? How are you feeling about Morgan Wallen's new single, "Smile"?
just listen to that.
I gotta say, I love the segue right there. Morgan Wallen, lies. Let's see here. That I don't like that song.
We're not talking about that
the new song. That was just the segue.
I'm gonna start listening to it.
I will say that
Copyright.
Brock, that's like the most recent song I've listened to. I heard that they were listening to country music on this podcast, and let's just say I'm not a big country guy. And I was in the party chat last night. You know the name of the
Not to be
podcast.
confused with the podcast.
Yeah.
The actual party chat.
Yeah, and I think Clayton said at like 2 a.m. that something about country music that I had no idea, and so I just listened to Morgan Wallen on the way here.
Can I say something really
Yeah,
fast?
go ahead.
The most recent artist I listened to is Ludlow. All right, go for it.
Yeah, I don't know. We're never gonna bring Ludlow up again. We're so sorry.
Ludlow.
But so I don't know. As of today, you guys probably know by now, but Garth Brooks, he is the most highest selling country artist of all time. Even he sold more than George Strait, even, and his music he's a weird guy, but his music was never on Spotify or streaming services. Like I don't know if it was a money thing or what, but you could never listen to his music like on streaming services.
sorry.
And out of nowhere, at like 12, like at midnight last night, all of a sudden, everybody's posting. Garth Brooks releases his album "No Fences" on Spotify, and he also released a live album on Spotify yesterday. With all like a bunch of his like early hits, like live, and I listened to it. It's very good. But this album, "No Fences," it has songs like "The Thunder Rolls" and "Friends in Low Places," which is his most famous song. I mean, even if you're not a country music fan, you've heard the song "Friends in Low Places." I mean,
You sing it?
I will not be singing it because I don't want to get copyrighted. By the way, where are the bodies, Garth? Inside the joke. You guys don't know.
No, you're right. I don't know why you would hand the mic to me after that. I truly don't know what to say after that. But my take on country music, it's good, but I don't listen to it, and that's really all I gotta say.
Sam, you appear to be cooked.
Yes,
In
I am.
trouble?
You got in trouble.
Shout out really quick, Mackenzie Corraro texting me right now. As far as Garth Brooks is concerned, he's a 2-hit wonder.
Whoa! This
I
guy
haven't
this guy has no ball knowledge of
Let's-
country music.
I mean, let's be real. Let's be real here. Nobody really cares about Garth Brooks nowadays.
I don't. I can.
Yeah,
Brock doesn't. Cole doesn't. Clayton's living in the past because He claims to know that
His music came
he
out.
claims to think that Zach Top is a good country artist as well.
Oh, we're not doing
trash. I could go on and on about his takes.
there's arguably a better artist than all those guys. you
1 out
just
of 10.
named.
1 out of 10 rage bait. By the way.
There's arguably there's one guy that reigns supreme.
Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Bad Bunny. Never listened to a lick of his music,
He's the goat.
but I just know he's the goat.
It's gas, bro.
Yeah. Donde está? Like that's fire. That is so fire.
Sam was so Sam. I'm sorry, but Sam was so cooked. I just saw his phone. He was unbelievably cooked. So,
Can we make a segment on that?
Sam.
Maybe.
All right. No, we're not going to read his personal text between him and his girlfriend, but just know he's
Como
cooked.
se llama? Me llamo Brock.
Sam.
That's so fire. Like that's
Sam is
it's such
not-
good music.
Sam is out of it right now. He's cooked.
We can move past it though.
Yeah. All right. Well.
We'll go to Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this was a great podcast. I'm very happy you could make it, Cole.
Thank you.
I love your philosophy, man. A man of God. I love it. Love to see it. And yeah, so this has been season 2, episode 3 of the Party Chat podcast. Remember to do something nice for one another. I'm your host, Clayton,
Sam.
Brock.
and our special guest, Cole. We will see you next time. Peace. Cut this out, for God's sakes.